Younger advisors often feel pressure to prove themselves in discovery meetings, especially with older clients. I'm joined today by Chris Holman, Master Certified Coach, and the author of the newly released book, Discovery Shift: Why Talking Less and Listening More Wins Business. And Chris is going to be talking with us about why that instinct that younger advisors have to prove themselves backfires and what actually builds trust faster. So, Chris, thank you for being here with me this morning.
You're welcome.
You argue that younger advisors may actually have a credibility advantage, which I know probably sounds counterintuitive to a lot of people. What do you mean by that?
Well, Doug, I'll tell you. So, when a younger advisor sits across from an older client, pressure shows up immediately. That pressure often triggers performing. I mean talking more, explaining early, proving competence. When they resist that reflex, they being the younger advisor, resist that reflex and slow down, trust forms faster. Calm builds credibility before experience does.
Then what goes wrong when an advisor, falls into that and sits across from an older client?
Here's what can happen. The advisor starts monitoring themselves instead of the client. Self-monitoring. All advisors can do it, by the way, not just younger or older, anyone. And that inward focus, the inward self-monitoring, speeds things up. Explanations come early, questions narrow. What feels like effort to the advisor feels like pressure to the client.
Is it like a self-consciousness? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes,
Is that
very
a bit of
much.
it?
Self-monitoring, self-consciousness. How are they judging me? And when we go inward that way, we change.
And we're probably not listening as well because we're worried about us.
Yes, yes. We're worried about us, not them.
Yeah. So you say older clients, it rarely is it that they doubt, intelligence and that credentials are assumed. Is that really true though for younger advisors?
Doug, I think so. If you're in the room, if the advisor is in the room with the prospective client, they're licensed, referred, competence is assumed. Clients watch behavior instead. Do you rush? Does the advisor rush? Do they interrupt? Do they manage before they understand? Trust erodes when the conversation feels handled instead of held.
Hmm. So if older clients aren't worried about the credentials of a younger advisor, what are they? What are they evaluating in those critical early minutes of a discovery meeting?
And this is again true for all advisors, but we're focusing on the younger advisor.
Hmm.
They're evaluating the experience of the conversation. Do they get the space to think? Are they being interrupted? Can the issue stay undefined for a moment? Is the advisor rushing in to fill the silence? And these judgments happen almost immediately, by the way.
Hmm. Um, well, you make a distinction between, authority and something that you call containment. What's the difference there?
So authority explains. Containment holds the uncertainty. So in discovery, containment means letting ambiguity exist long enough for the real issue to surface. Lingering on a topic, lingering on the concerns, asking what the concerns are from the person you're speaking with, and lingering long enough to let that concern rise up. And that steadiness signals competence more than jumping in and early answers.
Okay, I'd imagine that this concept of containment is new for a lot of folks. So maybe you can help us by painting a picture of what containment actually looks like during a live in session discovery meeting.
It may seem new, but here's what it means. No rushing to define the problem. Don't feel like you have to rush in. Questions don't steer. Silence isn't filled. Understanding is allowed to build. It's okay to slow down the conversation and let like any normal conversation with real people. It's okay to slow down. Clients feel that difference right away.
Okay, but I imagine a lot of advisors, shaking their head a little bit when they hear you say this about, slowing down and listening more because they might be worried about losing momentum, right? Or coming across as hesitant, not as strong of a leader, especially, a young advisor who maybe is trying to prove something a little bit.
Completely natural response. That's how advisors are trained. That's how we were brought up. I say we, I was an advisor many years ago. It can feel like risky behavior to the advisor, Doug. To the client, here's the thing, flip it around. To the client, it reads like confidence. Momentum comes from relevance, not speed. Rushing into it creates motion and the trust drains out.
Okay, why do younger advisors particularly have an edge here?
So here's the thing, because pressure shows up early. Younger advisors feel self monitoring immediately. When they learn to stay client oriented in the first place, they build steadiness sooner. Discovery rewards presence, and younger advisors encounter that lesson earlier.
Okay, but you also talk about moments when, mastery uh, really matters, such as maybe talking about a topic like Social Security. So, how does that mastery angle fit into things here?
Mastery does matter, no question, but timing matters more. When expertise comes after understanding, understanding first, expertise second, it lands cleanly. Too early, when advisors jump in to prove their competence and expertise too early, it feels like a performance.
Mm. And you referenced something called positive expectancy violation. Okay, a little bit of a mouthful there.
Yeah,
What's happening there with that?
it's a real thing. It's a real term. It's a real phrase. Older clients, and think about it, older clients often expect younger advisors to rush or overperform, not be calm. When that doesn't happen, when the younger advisor is calm, there comes the surprise. That's when mastery lands without having to prove oneself.
Hmm. Yeah, okay, Chris. Well, if a younger advisor takes away just one of the several things you've shared today about conducting discovery meetings, what do you want that to be?
You don't need to sound older. You need to be steady enough to let the client think. Credibility forms when the room feels safe for honesty.
Okay, great. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that you have your discovery meeting workshop that's coming up, I think February 19th.
No, February 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th. Okay, all right, I'm pushing it back.
Yeah.
The 9th and 10th. And you can go to horsesmouth.com/discovery to learn more about that and sign up. So, Chris, thank you again for joining me today.
Doug, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Take care, everybody.